It's Friday, and you know what that means. You're here with us, UUCJ. Unregulated, unplugged, conversations and jams. We're talking about coronavirus, how to stay safe, how to stay healthy, how not to really lose your mind because you really don't need to. But if you have the correct information, then all will be well, right? And pray is good.
All of these people have come together to provide a service to help out with the situation, whether it's space in the parking lot, because they're going to have drive-up testing
Centers.
And that's going to be strange. That's like something in the movies, like everything's on lockdown, but people driving up getting tested like we zombies or something.
Right.
So this is
you've
be
seen it in a movie, I'm sure.
This is going to be really interesting. But my question to that, I would like to ask Mr. Butler, that's joining us today. You know, very soon Mr. Butler may be in a situation where he has to make decisions for the city as to how this happens. So, is there anything that you see that you would have done already, or that should be done?
Well, Dana, let me first say this. Thanks for having me. I hope to make a meaningful contribution to the show as we go along. But I will say this: opportunities oftentimes do not represent themselves. And I think for the Trump administration, we had knowledge of the coronavirus for months prior to acting. Now, when you have time, that gives you an opportunity to eliminate things like this virus, which is primarily spread through transients, you know. And if the idea is to flatten the curve so that we do not overburden our healthcare systems, I would think you'd want to get on it as quickly as possible. So now what I see is they're being reactive. And so this reactivism oftentimes doesn't allow you enough time to really do what you would have been able to do had you acted promptly and been a little more proactive. Before it ever reached the shores of this country, I think we could have actually put an infrastructure in place had we not had an administration that was non-compliant with the advice of doctors, medical types, and scientists. You know, if you're a leader, you got to listen to what the scientists say.
He doesn't listen.
And that's precisely the problem. We have a president that doesn't listen. Had he listened, I think we could have put an apparatus in place. We could have put the quasi-quarantines that you're seeing happening in place. I do believe we would have immensely flattened the curve. I don't think it would have ever made its way to Seattle like it did, some of the areas in California, and then certainly you have New Rochelle and Yonkers, that pocket of the country that is actually now quarantined. What they're doing now is bringing these companies together with, I think, is a good solution that will eliminate this thing within 14 to 21 days. And maybe that's more wishful thinking on my end, but I do think what they're doing now is the right course that should have been taken months ago.
So let me ask you. Not months ago. Because they had people coming in from, like, I went to Thailand in January. When we came back.
You went where?
Where were you?
Thailand, right?
Somebody call the CDC.
The days have passed. The days have passed.
Lately?
I know, right? I got back February 4th, so I think I'm good.
You're good.
Out of the window.
Yeah, she's out of the window.
What I thought was when we were coming back into the country, I thought for sure, I'm like, yo, Patricia, they're gonna have us, we're gonna be in a line because they're gonna be checking us. Nothing. Pastor, keep
That's
on going.
absolutely what
And
I believe
like,
was happening.
what is wrong with you? You should at least check to see if I have a temperature or something.
Right.
I mean,
when there was SARS, that's exactly, and I know this is slightly different from SARS because it has an incubation period, I understand, of about 10 days in your body, but they did have an apparatus in place where they were testing people before entry in the country. But it's problematic when you have people that simply do not believe in science.
Arrogance.
They don't, there's no global warming. There's
Arrogance and stupidity.
all of these things that can happen that doesn't need science. You don't pray this thing away.
right.
I'm a believer,
Right.
but I'm watchful as well as I pray.
Yeah. No,
There are
but
just
they
certain
should have been.
things.
It's like our security system. It's like when you go to the airport, we're supposed to have the best security. We don't. We
I'm
don't
sorry,
because
we
we don't. And you go to the airport and I could carry a little knife, a lighter, I can't get some water to drink. I can't take some water on the plane, but I could carry 6 bottles of 1 ounce. so I can have 6 bottles of whatever it is to kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's just
It's just taking
stupid.
longer to put it together.
Right.
I think it's ridiculous.
How about that?
Girl, I think it's ridiculous.
So I got a question for our expert in the health field. But before I ask that question, I want to, Mr. Butler, the way that this virus is affecting mostly older people. They're more vulnerable, and those with chronic health problems. You, as an administrator of the city, if you're in that position, do you immediately protect our seniors?
You do. You do. We have the best example by the precedent that's been set in Seattle. We know that if it gets in a senior home or where there is a immunosuppressed or immunodeficient vulnerable population, that it will wreak havoc, and it did kill people there. Several, I think 19. So I would absolutely say DC should have moved a little bit more quickly. Now, it's always easy, and I'm not going to demonize the mayor, even though I don't agree with almost all of her policy issues. I think she's done a relatively good job in handling this with the information that she's had, because you've got this seamless web that you're working with the national CDC, WHO, and it really is a pandemic. We haven't seen one of those, and I realize every leader is tested, but I do think she's handled it well. I do think there should be something in place, and it's now in place regarding senior homes in DC. One thing that I would change that I don't think I've seen happen, and that's the schools. The schools are saying, hey, well, we'll be closed Monday or Tuesday. And there's this almost sliding scale with different schools and different facilities. What you need to, if containment is the idea, you act with your executive authority and you actually contain it.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. Absolutely. Because who knows where these people are going to go this weekend? They're going to come back to these classes on Monday. I say you make a strong demarcation, shut it all down, and this is when it, and the sooner we contain it, the better we can get back up to being an economically viable city, state, country, all of that stuff. So,
I saw a firefighter.
absolutely.
I saw a firefighter today, and she was telling me that she's working harder now because the schools that are shut down, those parents are taking time off. So now that means she was a little bit upset about the hours that she had to work, and she said, "And all for no good reason. You all are just acting crazy. There's nothing to act." I mean, she really was. I'm like, oh, okay.
You got to manage the crises of the virus and all the misinformation surrounding the virus.
Right, but then if those individuals, right, so you close the school, so you close the schools now, right? So now the kids are at home. And those parents that cannot telecommute, like you can't telecommute at Nordstrom, you got to be there. But who's going shopping right now anyway? Is there a sale?
Just don't like.
No, but the thing is, if the kids are at home, right, and the parents can't telecommute, that means now they're taking time off from work to stay home to take care of the kids. And what if they don't have leave? What do you call it? TO? What's it called? PTO. That's because I don't have a job. I don't have PTO. So if they don't have PTO, they can't, they're at home and they're losing money too. So what do you do? What are they supposed to leave the kids at home by themselves?
That's not good either.
Right.
That's another discussion that we need to have. I wanted to ask a question that a lot of people wonder about, but don't have the balls like I had to ask it.
Oh,
Here we go.
So I'm going to ask. I want to ask, what precautions should we be taking when indulging in sexual
for the love.
sexual activity? I mean, this is something that needs, because every day people have sex with people that they don't know, they barely
Maybe
know.
they should stop doing that.
Well, I mean, but that's not going to happen. So,
But they should still be informed.
They should be
Right.
Be safe.
so that is my question
If
to
somebody right now listening thinking about getting sloppy tonight, and he needs to hear what she's about to say.
so that is my question to our health expert today. But that question will be answered
Somebody's
After
getting
the break.
sloppy. That gets a
Getting
sloppy.
bit sloppy.
Oh. I'd like to know if he was receiving oral sex and then he touched his penis and then touched his face. Is this gonna? I can't believe this is the question you asked it, but I
That
guess
was
people wanna
very,
know.
that was very graphic.
People wanna
I did not know that you were going to actually say Mr. Unregulated is standing up there and his long thing is sticking out.
I didn't say that. Did I say that? I did not say that. You didn't hear anything like that, right?